But as I said earlier, even though it's more important than any relationship you might have with somebody else, it's not the most important relationship in your life. So what is it? What is the most important relationship? Well, it's this. Hi, I'm Liam Naden, and welcome to my podcast, Let Yourself Off the Hook. As someone who has studied success for decades, I have found the formula for achieving your dreams and goals, and it's all to do with how you use your brain. Each week on my show, I will provide you with the tools, resources, and expertise to utilize your brain to its ultimate potential and remove the barriers to your success. And as you will discover, true success in every area of your life only comes when you let yourself off the hook. What's the most important relationship that you have in your life? Now you might think, well, Liam, that's a pretty obvious question. It's got an obvious answer. The most important relationship I have in my life is with the one that I really love, the person that I really love. And your answer might be your husband or your wife or your partner. It might be one of your children. It might be your parents. And when I ask this question, what is the most important relationship in your life? The answer I usually get is of someone else other than the person themselves, or some other person that they're having a relationship with, whether it be the husband or wife or spouse or partner or whatever it is. But it's the person who is most special, most important to them in their life, and who they feel the most love and connection with, or would like to have the most love and connection with. And of course you probably think, well, this is so important because the better this relationship is, the happier I will be. To a large degree, my happiness actually depends or is influenced to a big degree by this other person. So this relationship is the most important thing in my life. Well, actually, it's not a bad answer, but it's not the real answer. Because although the relationship you have with another person who you love is very important, it's not the most important relationship that you have. It's not the one that's going to have the biggest impact on the quality of your life, even though you think it will. So if we think about this question, what is the most important relationship in your life? If you dig a little bit deeper, you might come to the conclusion that the answer is yourself. That the most important relationship that you have is the relationship that you have with yourself. And it's true, this is an important relationship, and it's actually more important than any relationship you could have with any other person, this relationship you have with yourself. And of course, most of us don't spend enough time developing this relationship. We're going to talk about the relationship with yourself in another episode, but it's worth asking yourself right now, what is the relationship that I have with myself like? How do I feel about myself? Do I love and admire myself? Or do I tend to think about all of the things that I don't like about myself? You know, the things that you see as faults or failings or things that you could be doing better. Do you know your strengths and your weaknesses? What you're good at, what you're not good at, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy? And do you know about the beliefs that you hold about certain things? Your attitudes, your opinions, and your patterns of behavior. All of these things are important to know, and really they're just at the surface of getting to know yourself or developing that relationship with yourself. So getting to know yourself and really having a good relationship with yourself is vital. It's going to determine and be a large influence on the things you do with your life and the results that you get. But as I said earlier, even though it's more important than any relationship you might have with somebody else, it's not the most important relationship in your life. So what is it? What is the most important relationship? Well, it's this. The most important relationship you have in your life is your relationship with the present moment. Your relationship with the present moment. And what is the present moment? It's everything that's going on in your life right now. And not just on the outside. It's everything that's in your environment that's influencing you, that you're a part of. But it's also what's going on in the inside. Your thoughts, and most importantly, your feelings. How you're feeling right now, in this moment. And this awareness, the awareness that you have about what's really going on the outside and what's really going on the inside, right now, that awareness, that relationship, if you like, is the most important relationship that you could possibly develop. Because your relationship with what's going on in your life, both on the outside and on the inside, is literally your experience of your life. That's all it is. Your whole life of experience is simply the relationship that you have with what's going on in the present moment. Now, you may well never have thought about this, or thought about your life in this way, or thought about the way things are in this way. But it's the truth if you really think about it. Everything that you experience is nothing more than your feelings about what's going on in your world, right now, in this moment. So it's the relationship between what's happening and how you feel about what's happening. And these two things, what's going on and how you feel about it, are actually quite separate things. So for instance, something might happen in your life that you don't like. Maybe someone says something to you that you find quite hurtful. Or something happens in the form of an event. Maybe you lose money on a particular venture. Or maybe one of your children does something that you don't approve of. But whatever it is, you can see that there are two things going on. One is what's actually happening. So the thing your child did that you didn't approve of, or the thing that somebody said that you didn't like. The words themselves, the action themselves, that's one thing. But the other thing that's happening is how you feel about it. How you feel about what's actually happening in that moment. And that relationship is the most important relationship in your life. Because ultimately what it is your relationship between yourself and your feelings in the present moment. So why is this so important? Why is this relationship between yourself and the present moment, why is this more important than any other relationship in your life? Well, there are a few reasons. The first thing is, of course, that right now, this moment is actually all there is. There is no future. There is no past. There's just now. If you think of something in the future, you're thinking of it right now. If you're thinking of something that happened in the past, you're thinking about it right now. Everything is happening right now. So right now, this present moment is all there is. But isn't it interesting? Isn't there a paradox that now is the one place we spend all of our time, but it's also the place we spend hardly any of our time, because we're busy thinking thoughts about the future, about the past. And life goes on around us, and most of the time our thoughts are keeping us separate and unaware of what's actually happening right now in this present moment. So most of the time, our relationship with the present moment isn't actually very well developed. It's not very good. And that's ironic, given that right now is all there is. It's the only thing that's actually real. And the times we are involved in the present moment, when we're aware of what's happening right now, most of those times, we're not really aware of everything that's happening in the present moment, but we're reacting to something that is happening in the present moment. And the really important thing to remember about that, or to realize about that, it's not about the reality of the situation, it's what our thoughts and feelings are doing in response to that. You might get angry with someone else and you lash out, you react. You're not really in the present moment. You're not taking in the totality of everything there is right here, right now. You're just reacting to a small portion of what's here right now, which is the action of that other person. Or when you're worried about the future. I mean, how many times do you go to bed at night, or even during the day, your thoughts, suddenly you become aware that you're worried about something that you think might happen, or that is likely to happen in your mind, or that is even going to happen. You have that meeting tomorrow that you don't want to attend. You have to give that talk to that group of people that's making you feel nervous. So your thoughts are taking you out of the present moment into something that's making you worried about what might be in the future. And other times, thoughts come in our mind about something that's happened in the past that we feel bad about, that we regret that happened. We're sad that happened. But it did happen. But it's taking our focus, our attention, our awareness away from the present moment, away from what's literally going on in our environment right now. And the other reason why your relationship with the present moment is the most important relationship in your life is because that the feelings that you create in response to what's happening right now in this moment, they activate a particular part of your brain. And if they activate good feelings, feelings of happiness, gratitude, excitement, wonder, love, then you activate this part of your brain called your creative brain. And your creative brain is ultimately designed to guide you in your life to be the best that you can be, through making right decisions, taking right actions, having the right thoughts and ideas and awarenesses, imagination, creativity, resourcefulness. These are all the tools and factors of your creative brain that you can use when you feel good, when your relationship with the present moment is such that you see the reality of what is around you and that it's good. And on the other hand, if you react, as we said before, to something negative, or if you feel bad about what's going on in your environment right now, if your relationship with your environment gives you feelings that make you feel stressed, worried, afraid, unhappy, whatever it is, you shut down your creative brain and all of its resources, and you activate your survival brain, your fight or flight brain. And this is the part when it's activated that keeps you stuck in your frustration, in problems, in not being able to find the solution and the answers and the right things to do with your life to ensure that you're the best that you can be. So this is why your relationship with the present moment is so vitally important. And it's a relationship that, as I said earlier, very few of us are really aware of. And because we're not aware of it, we're not in the habit of trying to develop this relationship. And we don't realize how important it is. You know, relationships with other people, when we see that they're important, we do everything we can to develop that relationship. We've put our focus, our attention, our energy, our effort into learning how can we develop that relationship? How can I be more loving with my husband or my wife? How can I be more effective in my business or my career with the people I interact with? How can I be a better salesperson? How can I be a better teacher? Whatever it is, we work on our skills to develop our relationship with that other person. And we may also work on our skills to develop our relationship with ourselves. We think, how can I be a better person? What can I do? What strengths can I develop? What weaknesses can I overcome and eliminate from my life? What better beliefs and thoughts can I have that are going to make me a better person? How can I feel better about myself? This is all to do with the relationship with yourself. So how do you develop that most important relationship of all, which is your relationship with the present moment? Well, as with any relationship, it starts with becoming aware that it exists, firstly, that you do have a relationship with the present moment, and secondly, that it's very important, that you need to develop this relationship. You need to work on developing a habit of working on your relationship with the present moment. And you might have heard about becoming present or becoming mindful, but this really goes a lot deeper than that. You want to try and develop the habit of being in the present moment, being aware of it, and therefore being aware of your relationship with it, how you feel about it, as often as you can. And one really good place to start is by spending more time alone, on your own, preferably in a nurturing environment such as somewhere in nature. So go out for a walk. It doesn't need to be far, it doesn't need to be a hike or a trek, but just spend some quiet time in nature, and that will automatically help you to connect with the present moment. Maybe you've had this experience, I certainly have, where you're out on a walk, and it's a beautiful walk, and you get to the end of it, and you suddenly realize, did I experience that walk? I didn't really. I was so busy off in my thoughts, thinking about all of the things I had to do, all of the things I was worried about, all these thoughts, that I wasn't aware of the present moment. I wasn't able to experience the beauty of a walk in nature that I'd just been through. And that's when you realize that your relationship with the present moment really needs some work, that you're being distracted, you're being taken away from that relationship. It's like your relationship with your spouse. If you don't spend any time with your spouse, if all of these other things keep getting in the way, all of these things that you have to do, your commitments, your stresses, your worries, what's going to happen to that relationship with your spouse? It's not going to develop. It's not going to flourish. In fact, it's going to go the other way. It's the same with your relationship with the present moment. You need to develop a habit. You need to work on developing this relationship. And a great place to start is by taking away the clutter that prevents you from really being able to focus on the present moment. Take away the distractions. Go for a walk in nature, even if it's just a walk on the street, out of your normal environment. Spend some time on your own, and then you'll be able to start to more easily develop this relationship with the present moment. And the other way to develop your relationship with the present moment, and again, this is just a habit that requires developing, is to become more aware of what's going on around you. And most importantly, become more aware of your reactions to what's going on around you. Your responses, your interpretations, and therefore your feelings about what's happening. Are you reacting to things? Are things making you feel bad? Are other things making you feel good? And what is it that's causing you? What are the thoughts that are causing you to think something is good or something is bad? Another really deep subject that we'll talk about in another podcast. Because if there's something, say, that you don't like that's causing you to feel bad, something that makes you feel stressed or afraid or annoyed or frustrated, then what's the interpretation that you're giving it? What's the judgment you're putting on that to make you feel that way? Now, I know this is deep stuff, and it's going to take a bit of effort to become aware of this relationship you have with the present moment. And it's something you're going to work on for the rest of your life. Like any great relationship, you're going to want to work on it and develop it. But it really is the most worthwhile and valuable thing that you can do, is to develop your relationship with the present moment, how you interact with the present moment, how it makes you feel. Because as I said before about the parts of your brain, how you feel will determine which part of your brain rules your life, and therefore whether you become the best that you can be or whether you stay stuck with problems, stress and frustration. So as often as you can remember, keep asking yourself questions like, how am I feeling right now? So that means coming back to the present moment and saying, how am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? Am I feeling good? Am I feeling happy? Or do I feel a little bit of frustration and stress? Why am I feeling that way? Is there something that's happening in my environment that I'm giving an interpretation to that's making me feel that way? How can I change how I feel about what's going on around me? How can I feel better about what's going on around me? What's a different thought or a different idea or a different interpretation that I can give to what's going on around me that's going to make me feel better? And really, am I having thoughts that aren't based on the reality of what's happening right now? For instance, if someone says something to you that upsets you, is that really a big deal? Is that going to mean the end of your life in some way, or the end of, perhaps your husband or your wife says something that upsets you? Is that really going to mean the end of your relationship? Is that really going to harm your relationship? Does it have to harm your relationship? And even if that relationship ended, is that really going to harm your life necessarily? Couldn't you perhaps find another relationship? Are your thoughts leading you into a place of fear, stress and worry about something that you think might happen in the future? But it's not happening right now. It's not happening in this present moment. In other words, are you really focusing on the reality of what's happening right now, or is your thoughts and your mind off somewhere else, worrying or feeling regret, but not here right now? And the great thing about this, the great thing when you really develop this relationship you have with the present moment, is that your awareness expands. Just for a moment, try this with me. Come back to the present moment. Be really present. Look around you. Listen to my voice. See what's really going on. And then realize that beyond what's going on right here, right now, at the same time, if you expand your awareness outwards, you see planets, you see stars, you see this vast, empty universe. This is all right here, right now. But we haven't been aware of it, have we? Because we haven't been focused on the present moment. And go in the other direction. Instead of going outwards, go inwards. And realize that your body is made up of all of these things called cells. Cells that are working away to keep you alive in this experience. And those cells are made up of atoms and molecules and smaller particles, which are all, quantum physics tells us, mainly empty space. That's all here right now as well. That's here in the present moment. That's reality. So I encourage you to really spend some time working on this relationship with the present moment. See how you can develop it. Become more aware of what's going on right now, and more importantly, or just as importantly, your response, your reaction, your thoughts, your feelings, your interpretation of what's going on right now. And as you do, you're going to find this relationship with the present moment get stronger and stronger, and it will become, not only theoretically, but in reality, the most important relationship in your life. It's the one you're going to want to spend the most time developing. And the great thing is when you do that, every other relationship in your life, both with other people and yourself, they improve as well. In fact, it's the key, really, to transforming all of your life. This is Liam Naden signing off. Thanks for watching. But before you go, there's some action to take. Hit the subscribe and like buttons and leave your thoughts in a comment below. I'd love your feedback. And if you have friends who you think would benefit from this, please share it with them. Thanks again for your support, and stay tuned for more from me, Liam Naden. And remember, you can only reach your full potential when you let yourself off the hook.